And warm greetings once again. I'm Mike Blinder, publisher of E&P Magazine. I'm also host of our weekly vodcast series, E&P Reports. And today we're having a sponsored webinar. We do these occasionally, maybe once, twice a month, with those solution partners that have a story to tell to our audience, near and far, of news media executives. Today, our host is audience. We're honored to have them on board. I'd first like to welcome the boss, co-founder, and Creighton Green. Welcome to the program.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. It's awesome to be here.
I'm just, first of all, thank you so much for supporting us. And moreover, wow, every time I look at your website and I see what you're doing, you're adding more and more and more solutions. I don't know if a whole hour is going to be able to cover all this, so I hope you can talk pretty fast, Creighton.
Hey, luckily that's Ryan and Paris's job. So I'll just tie things together. They've got some awesome case studies of how they work with us and what's working best in their businesses. So
Well, thank you.
I'll just be here to stitch it together.
Thank you, Vanna, for flipping that letter for us because I was just going to introduce Paris Brown, a friend of E&P. Paris, we have awarded you. We have saluted you. We've written about you. We finally got you to broadcast live with us. You are the publisher of the Baltimore Times. Welcome. It's an honor to have you on board.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Ryan, a new friend of mine. Ryan, I don't know why we haven't bumped into each other more because you're regional sales director at Gray Media. We go to the same conferences, hobnob with the same people. I'm a big fan of Gray, and I'm honored to have you here, sir.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Happy to share some of our experience.
Okay, so before we get started, let's do some housekeeping. There's a chat room that you're welcome to chat in throughout the entire broadcast. For some reason, Zoom defaults chat to host and panelist only. I invite you to switch that and make sure you make your chat to everyone. Let us see it, let the fellow participants see it. So if there's a dialogue going on in the background, questions you have, something you want to pose, you can do it in there. Plus, we'll keep our eyes on the Q&A as well. And there are people from audience in the background that will try to instantly answer any and all questions. I can't keep my eyes on that the whole time because I'm going to try to keep this conversation moving. So we're going to start with Creighton first. Creighton, I switched up the order a little today. I hope you don't mind. But I was
That's
hoping you
fine.
could first. Whenever I go to audience.com and whenever audience.io, excuse me, in your website, I always think you're like a buffet. Does that make sense? Like, rather than me having to get 19 or 20 different solution providers, how do you guys work? What do you do? And who the hell are you, if I can be so bold?
Yeah, so we started 14 years ago and our product was very simple. It was one single product that helped media companies run contests and sweepstakes and primarily on like Facebook. As we brought on more partners, the requests kept coming in of, oh, we pay for this survey tool and we pay for this polls and UGC and brackets and pop-ups. And I mean, the list just kept coming in from our customers. And they're like, you know what? We love your support team. We love your platform. Can you build a survey tool, a polls tool, a best of tool? And so our team, I mean, we're scrappy. So we just continued to build, but we have tried to make sure that it all fits into this suite of tools that is very focused on first party data. Right? Like that's what every conference is talking about. You have to build and then you have to own your audience.
Yeah,
And the best
that's
way,
funny you would bring that up because the industry was like waiting patiently and for Google to kill,
cookie. Yeah.
cookies, and
Yeah.
shut it down. And we were all going, "Oh my God, there goes programmatic." And for what, 3 years we were waiting. And is your prediction? I know you don't have some crystal ball. Will that happen someday? I mean, how important is first-party data in your opinion, sir?
Well, look, you have to be in charge of like your own destiny, right? So I think we saw the example of like with TikTok and if you that whole like if you build a castle on rented land, like
Right.
you have to own your audience. And that audience, sure, there's cookies and there's these anonymous users, but you don't really know that much about them. And so to own an audience, you have to actually know who these people are. And that starts with an email address, a phone number, a name, and then find out if I own a house, find out if I have kids, am I into sports? And if you can own that database and it's bigger than your competitor's database,
There you go.
it'd be crazy if you're not the one winning when it comes to revenue and everything else.
So you use every trick in the book, if I may use that term, to help us capture that data, not just for ourselves, and we're going to learn as we go through these two case studies, also for our advertisers. They're just as anxious. I mean, I think just about every advertiser you trip across today has either a MailChimp or uh, some form of
HubSpot. So
yeah,
yeah.
something, or just a simple spreadsheet. But they've been told you better start capturing email addresses. You got to do loyalty. So you can help them do that as well, right? Through all these different tools you have.
Exactly. Like leads are probably the most requested,
Right.
result that any advertiser wants. And the best way to get a lead to an advertiser is to ask your audience the questions that qualify them into a lead. So by giving away a prize and promoting that, you can then give them bonus entries and say, hey, for 10 bonus entries, do you own a home or do you rent a home? Once they provide that information, think about it, like the brand, your brand owns it, but then that's also a lead for the advertiser. You should continue to work that data and now they're getting the result that they want.
So basically, there's a lot of companies out there that you're just pretty much the one buffet where you've already vetted the solution. There's some cases, right, where if I come to audience, pick up a solution, it could be provided by another company that might be white labeling the same thing. But you're offering all that customer support behind it. The ability for me as a media company to say, look, I got one place that knows how to do this, and I can
Yep.
get what I need, and it's going to constantly grow and help me, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So we want to reduce that. We call it like the chair swivel of going from
Exactly.
platform to platform. But also, I think the worst part about having it so segmented out there is the data and the silos the data ends up in. Like for me personally, like if you're the media company and you've got my email address in one system and in another and in another, who's stitching that all together? And that's where we really looked at all these features that we offered and said, you know what? We should get into QR codes. We should get into surveys and polls because those are just silos. And two, I'd say cost is a big part of this. We know that budgets aren't getting that much bigger anywhere. And so what we can do is help consolidate the data, the chair swivel, and then also bring that cost down so you're not paying for as many licenses for different platforms.
All right, so based on the fact that you've got all these great solutions available, let's take it to the street now. Let's get into the Baltimore
Sweet.
Times, and let's get Paris to turn on her mic. Paris, welcome. Before we get into what you accomplished with data collection and revenue boosts and audience build, let's first talk about what the heck the Baltimore Times is. I personally know the market because I've consulted there. We report on it constantly. It's one hell of a media market, right? It's almost like there's a different there's so much media in Baltimore. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. I do.
And you so describe who you are, what your niche is, and what you do at the Baltimore Times, what your audience is, and the size and scope of your operation, if you don't mind.
Sure. So the Baltimore Times, and we are proud to say we're celebrating 40 years of positive community reporting. So we're a local newspaper, and we cover stories that really traditional media outlets do not cover.
Mhm.
And we were started really inspired by all of the negative press that African Americans were receiving. And so we wanted to change that narrative, and we wanted to tell stories about the neighbor, about people you know. And so hence the Baltimore Times was born.
Talk to me about your staff. I mean,
So
it's not a
we
big
we
operation, right?
no, it's not. We used to have a big operation, just like all other media across the landscape. And in particular with COVID, we have shrunk. And so we literally are a team of 3.5 people. And my founder says, no, you're 2.5 because I'm not doing anything. So I mean, we joke about that, but everyone that does participate or is a staff member, we're highly involved. We have a team of freelance writers. That's how we do it. And then we really exercise the power of partnership and community. And that's why we're able to do such amazing things like the Best of Black Baltimore.
All right. So when you sought out the guys at audience, what were you looking for? A revenue boost, an audience engagement boost? What? What was your
So,
primary, or what
so
were your goals?
So when we sought them out, our founder said years ago she wanted to do something like this. And really, we were looking to just celebrate the Black businesses in Baltimore. And all of the other things, I think, just came with it that we were so excited about. So actually, that number is wrong. We actually generated over six figures. And so when you think of a small publication like the Baltimore Times, you think of digital disruption and you think of, because right now, majority, we're legacy. So majority of our revenue comes from print. So how were we able to increase digital revenue? And this is one of the ways. It was really digital campaigns. And so when we got involved in this, I don't think we realized how many more benefits we were able to accrue and access as a result of this campaign.
I love the way you call it the best of Black Baltimore.
It
I
was
lo-
the best, you know what? And we loved it. We found that there was no citywide event that celebrated Black businesses. So before we even started, we were like, what are our campaign goals? And I think that's really important because you'll see that we hit every one of those. And it really, when we started out, we were like, we want to campaign or we want to give the community voice. And this was a campaign that allowed our community to share with the entire city who are their best businesses, who do they support in their community. And then, of course, in addition to that, being able to celebrate Black entrepreneurship, drive business, and then also get the community and businesses engaged. And so, what you're looking at are some promotional pieces. Of course, with any publication, you want to use your assets. So in the previous page, what you saw was, so what we did is we gave them promotional pieces within their business to drive them back to our website.
right.
So they got promotional pieces, including a little button that said, I voted.
It's
Mhm.
amazing. And then you even went to the expense of billboards, which I think is
We
phenomenal.
went to right. We wanted to engage the community. We wanted to really uplift those sponsors that supported this first time initiative. Remember, this was inaugural, and one of the challenges we have, and I do want to share that, is because it was new, we had to educate the community about what the best of Black Baltimore was, right? Because it wasn't celebrated on that platform. And this particular one, and one of the things we did to help them out is on the website, we created downloadable, shareable media assets. And so what you're looking at is you were able to go to our website, the Best of Black, right? This was a
Yeah.
platform that we had with audience and download an asset that you can use. So to the extreme left, you're looking at one of the winners. We created an asset and they used it to promote the fact that they were winners and come celebrate them. And then the middle one, I don't think this is live. That is actually a video. And so they shared the video
Wow.
assets.
So
Yeah.
you're making it so easy for the advertiser. Do me a favor. Let me stay with us because I want to bring in Creighton right now. Creighton,
Mhm.
to someone who doesn't even understand best of, remember I come from radio in the 70s and 80s. Best ofs were something that I did in cities. When I was running a radio station in one of my cities, what we did was we would the local tabloid was doing a best of thing, and then we'd get into the conference room with beer and fill out a million things for our morning show. You know what I mean? We're always trying to,
Yeah.
cook the books, as it were. And it's been around for a while, but now it's a very sophisticated model that's turnkey, correct? Where I can work with you and instantly find new revenue, make more engagements, and more importantly, find new advertisers. Take us quickly through the steps of making this happen, sir.
Yeah, so this works in all sizes of markets. I
Right.
mean, this is something that you already have a website, so you might as well give people a reason to go to the website. And everybody is proud of the community, they're proud of their favorite restaurant, et
Yes.
cetera. And so what we did is, there's periods of this whole campaign, right? There's the nomination period where it's like go in and make sure that your favorite restaurant is part of best of. And then what the restaurants and the other businesses are doing is like they're telling their customers, right? Hey, nominations are over. Now it's voting time. And so what's happening is you have this just army of folks in your community that are out there recruiting friends and family
Mhm.
and customers to go vote. And those are folks that have maybe never been to your website, right? So this might be the first time that they go to the Baltimore Times website, and this is an opportunity to build this audience and collect some data. So, when they go into a vote for that business, are you going to capture an email address? And so there's those periods of like nomination, and
Well,
then
let me
there's a
just stay there for a second. Let's
okay,
let's 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 bring in Paris in now. Paris, you
okay.
go to audience, you say, okay, we're going to do a best of, and they say, great. The first thing is the nomination process. So you
Right.
promote, nominate your favorite black business, and suddenly you're seeing these business names, correct? As
Yes.
and you thought you knew every business in town, didn't you? And now you know, wow, I didn't know this business. I did. Are you actually seeing new potential advertising leads at this one? I mean, isn't this just a way to suddenly cast a net and find new businesses? Am I right?
It is. And what's so great about this, I think we have this year, we may have 8 repeating winners, but now we have a whole slew of businesses that people didn't know exist. So I was talking to someone, I said, do you know there are 2 Black-owned hardware stores?
Right.
And someone looked at me, they were like, no. And so this year, on top of last year, we have a whole slew of new businesses, and we'll share later on in the presentation how we plan to work with Audience IO to extend that promotion throughout the entire year.
All right. So, okay, now they nominate. Okay, stay with us,
Yes.
Creighton. They nominate the businesses, and then you said, now we go into a voting process. So you've picked out, I'm assuming there's a criteria on who gets to be voted on from the nomination period. Is that correct, Creighton?
So anybody that gets nominated, you have all these different categories of businesses. And like Paris said, like you'll be surprised at what categories start to show up because every media company kind of focuses on their automotive and their very specific categories. And all of a sudden you start seeing, wait, there's an opportunity in hardware stores or
Right.
whatever the category might be. And so if you're nominated, if your business is listed in there, then it goes on to voting. But then there's opportunities, if your business has been nominated, there's opportunities where you can get more involved in that category and be featured and listed towards the top and those kind of things.
Paris, how hard is it to see these names? I mean, how difficult was it for you to navigate this with your enormous team of two and a half?
So we created a database that we sent out, and then as people come to our website, we've had people reach out to us and they're like, how do I get involved? Because they heard from another person in another category. And so we have a story that we had one company that called us up at 10 o'clock at night crying. They're like, we need to be part of this campaign. And you'll see in the next slide, it gets real serious with these businesses.
Let's
And
go.
one of the things that they did is they elevated this to the most prestigious award that you can receive in Baltimore City. And this came from, that's how much they cherished this whole campaign and the award. And thank you so much for sharing this impact page. To the right, this is what's amazing. The businesses created a total, this was last year. Some of the things we have not, we literally just finished a campaign for this year, 500 social media assets. So what you're seeing to the right is a business that created an asset for you to vote to them, and that drove them right back to our website. So, I mean, when I say they had fun, they had so much fun, the businesses, the community. So you see the revenue, and that is plus, literally, that was year to date. We had, this was this year, 383 businesses nominated, and that was above last year. This year we had 82,000 votes. That's over 10,000 above last year. We had 67 industries that were showcased, 100,000 comments, posts, and likes. That was from last year. And then we collected over 5,000 emails, right? Because they could opt in. And then in terms of driving traffic, so I have to go back to last year's. I was looking at last year's, and with the whole change in the Google Analytics, there were 325,000 uh, visits to our website. And I thought, how could that be? But of course, 72,000 people voted. And then what's not there, there was 200,000 of something, and it's actually not there. And then, of course, you saw the number of impressions. So this was what we didn't expect. We didn't expect when we actually did the campaign, because we were really thinking, okay, let's just promote these businesses. And what we got was so much engagement. We got so much more than what we expected when we did the Best of Black.
You see, but I think you even got another benefit out of this, and maybe that's just me. The moment I took over my brand, see, I don't call it a magazine, I call it a brand.
You're absolutely right.
I
I
am
love it.
working on brand lift, left, right, up, down, anything that can increase the love of that brand, the emotion of the brand. I mean, everybody should be looking at their media property as a brand. Creighton, join me on this. Do you agree? I mean, so not only is she making money and building a database, but all of this just makes her even more special and loved in the business community. Am I correct, Creighton?
Absolutely, yeah. This campaign here is probably one of the most community focused
Yeah.
campaigns that honestly, like, it just brings in such a new audience to get to know the brand and then start supporting the brand. And I think, like Paris said, like, how cool is it that the local businesses are the ones that are driving traffic to your website, and they're paying you to drive website to your traffic? Like, it's crazy, right?
She's getting
But
phone
it's so
calls
cool
at
how it all
night.
comes together.
She's getting phone calls from businesses saying,
Yeah.
I want to be part of your family. I want to be part of your brand.
Mhm.
So now and correct me if I'm wrong, Paris, when you go out in the street to sell, you're all puffed up now. You're feeling the power. I mean, it just this is what you need and this is all turnkey, right, Creighton? This was easy. This
Yeah.
is not
And,
like,
and
she
that's the
doesn't
thing,
have to
like,
she doesn't have to turn over the keys to the candy store, right? You
right.
know,
And we best of is not a new concept. Luckily, there have been a lot of players in the space that have built software solutions for it, and we've learned from everybody that's done it. And so we needed to make it so turnkey that even a small team, that this could get onto their site. There's so many pieces to this that we've really simplified that it doesn't matter how small your team is. We've got a whole team here, and the idea is easy implementation, but most importantly, we have the case studies, the best practices. Like, we've seen some of these do really well, and we've seen some not do as well. And so it's the software, plus it's also the guidance on how to do it and how to do it in 2025 versus how you did it 15 years ago.
all right, so now this is a one-hit wonder, right, Paris? No more revenue from this.
This
You're
is
done. You're going to tell Creighton, go away. I'm going to
no.
move on. No. What's next? I mean, this is why you teased us with that. You said, but no. We're taking this to a whole new level. What's
Yeah,
going on?
we're taking this to a whole new level, but I got to tell you, so they didn't pay me for this, but in working with Audience IO, I kid you not, Cody was, anytime we had a problem, and I kid you not, it would be Sunday. Cody would literally like call us or send an email or a video. You need to do this and that. And I can say that the support from Audience IO has been amazing, because we had never done this before. And they made not only the lift easy, they made the whole campaign easy. They gave us a lot of confidence. But in terms of what's next, collaborating now with the winners, this is my favorite post. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I won. Thank my mama and everybody. And she's she's thanking the community. And we love this. And she created this asset. This particular one, the last I looked, was almost 700 likes. I don't know how many shares. And this is her thanking the community, and the community is saying, you're welcome. So we will be celebrating her along with the others with an event. So that's what's next. So wait a minute. So Audience IO, get ready to get busy.
Bring it on. Bring it on. No, it is cool. Like, year after year, you will see, like, the community just rallies around it more and more.
Yes.
Like, as your brand grows, but as this best of brand grows as well, it's awesome to see. So I think
And if anyone that's participating wants any more questions, information, get into the chat now and ask your questions to everyone. They will be answered. And moreover, if you'd like to get a link to learn more about this, just get into the chat room now and we'll make sure you get one. What I want to know is, Paris, before we move on, and I know we've got our other panelist waiting in the background right now, humming to himself. Ryan, hang on, you're going to turn that letter in a second. Paris, these will become not just advertisers as part of this campaign, you're going to have these as advertisers and supporters, and I mean, for full year contracts. Am I correct?
Yes.
These are becoming part of your business growth. Am I right? In general?
Yes. And not only the businesses, but all of the people that joined and opt in for the emails. So, I mean, this has helped our email list grow. Our email was like 1,500 for years and years. And it really helped us to really create more contact points. And we're a niche publication.
Right.
And so this is really helping us to grow. And we're looking forward to the other campaigns with Audience.io to further grow that audience, because then we'll be digging into the different industries.
All right, everybody, stand by. Paris, there may be questions for you. Don't go anywhere. We still own you for the next few minutes, so stay. But I'm going to swing things over now to Ryan, because Ryan, your operation is just like Paris's, right? 2.5 employees, Gray Media.
We've got a few more, right? Yeah.
That's why I love this. When I work with our supporters and our media partners, I always figure out how I can make sure that we tell the story at a couple different levels. I mean, you got an operation like Paris, then we come to you. You, sir, work for a pretty large company. Am I correct? Give us the lay of the land, Ryan, of Gray Media.
Gray Media started out as largely a TV broadcast company. Much like Audience has kind of transformed their business, we've transformed ours as well. Changed our name to Gray Media. We are currently in 113 markets. We have some of the most top-rated stations across the country as well. You can see all of our brands kind of spread out there. I say we kind of have two segments to our business, though, right? We've got the side that is focused on how do we get news and information out to our viewers and our audience. And so we do that via traditional television. We also have, obviously, our websites, our news apps, and then our weather apps are a big part of that as well. And so that's the side of kind of what our business is built on. But I actually work for Gray Digital Media. And so as we've kind of transformed our company also, I think it aligns well with what we're talking about today. It's really about the audience. And so whether it's our news stations that are trying to reach that audience and get that information out to the public, or on the advertising side, which is what I work on, like how do you get that message out to the right people at the right time? And that's really what we focus on. So you can see here, Gray Digital Media, we've got over 16,000 clients. We work with both direct clients as well as agencies. So if we've got any media companies on here that have a need to outsource that, we do white labeling as well. And we really set ourselves apart because we're not outsourcing these tactics. We built all of these tactics in-house. About 6 years ago, we developed a full service digital agency that is running and optimizing all these campaigns for our advertisers. And Audience is just one of those tools that we use to help those advertisers as well. So you can see from our site here, we really have just about any digital tactic that you can think of, from out of home to streaming TV, targeted display, targeted video, targeted email, a full gamut of products that we have to get results for our advertisers.
And you are not only, I mean, I'm assuming, yes, you're in charge of digital revenue, but digital revenue goes hand in hand with the legacy revenue as well, correct? I mean,
correct, yeah.
I mean,
the big thing for us is, obviously we've got the agency side of our business, but it's how do we get more relationships out in those markets with direct advertisers. And Creighton kind of stole some of my thunder early on when he was talking through, like, what does Audience do best? I mean, he's exactly right. I would say probably 9 out of 10 customers that we talk to are not just interested in brand exposure. They don't just want branding. They want to get qualified leads. And this platform is something that allows us to do that. I always say it's kind of like a form fill on steroids. It gives,
there's my pull quote. Thank you.
That's the quote for Audience. If I had to say anything of like what it does is, everybody has form fills we take them to, and like I think if you work on the advertising side of the business, you guys know this. It's hard to get people to take that step to go ahead and fill out that information, whether it's converting a shopping cart or it's filling out that form fill, picking up the phone and calling. And so we're giving them an incentive to share their information to that advertiser because in turn for that, in most cases, they've got an opportunity to win something. And so I think that's a big differentiator on what we have.
All right. So what makes you a hero? I mean, you got a boss, your boss has got a boss, and then you got people under you that are working in all the markets. I mean, you're responsible for a good share of these markets, and you must have frequent flyer miles all over the place. I live that life, and I know it's no badge of honor. But what makes you a hero? Is it audience building? Is it revenue generation? Is it brand lift? Is it the local sales force's adaptation? Or is it all of the above? What makes you the hero?
That's a good question, Mike. I obviously I focus more on the sales side. So for me, being a hero is getting results for the advertisers, and for them that looks like qualified leads. And so I always say this too. Like we're a big company and we're in some huge markets. We're also in some small markets too. But sometimes it's not just about the mass that you have on that. Like if you're a driveway repair company and you do a contest to say, hey, let's submit photos for the driveway that needs the most love and care, like to be replaced on that. And you get 600 people that submit photos of their torn up driveways. You got 600 qualified leads for that business. Do you know how long it would take them to get those generated? And so that's kind of being the hero. But, we do appreciate what audience does for us on the audience side as well. So all of our contests, when you enter them, they've got two check boxes on it. One is, would you like to receive more information from the advertiser? And then the other checkbox that you have on there is, would you like to receive updates from Gray Media as well? So we're really built twofold building our audiences there, and then we use that as well to push out newsletters similar to what Paris said.
All right, let's focus in on this grocery store win, which I think is very, very impressive. Which market is this, and how did this all come about, and where was audience as part of this?
Yeah, so this is one that I really liked. We kind of removed the market name because we didn't get permission from the advertiser prior to this call. But I will tell you, it's a mid-sized market. And what the contest did is they actually did a long-term contest for this, and they gave away groceries. Actually, they gave away a $100 gift card to this grocery store. I think it was one per day, actually. So a big investment commitment for them. But the thing that I really liked about this contest, when I was talking to the audience team about like throwing one in there, is the only way that you could enter this contest is you actually had to go and download the station's app. And the entry portal was hidden within a button inside of the news app. So this station had a very strong weather app. They were trying to grow that engagement side to get more people to download the news app. And so they ran promos saying, hey, we're doing $100 in grocery giveaway, but the only way to enter it is to download our app and go find the button for the grocery giveaway. So for us, not only did it drive, you can see here, 97,000 entries and a lot of email opt-ins, but think that means all 97,000 of those entries had to download our news app before they could enter the contest.
Win, win, win. But the advertiser, correct me if I'm wrong, was desperate to build its own database, right? It has a loyalty program of its own. So
Yeah.
this was a way I mean, what is it going to do? Say, sign up at the store while people are shopping. This was a clear way for them to do what they wanted, which was build customer loyalty, correct?
Absolutely. And this is one where Creighton talked about the bonus entries. I don't think, some of the audience competitors out there have this feature, but like this one actually had check-ins in the store to get bonus entries, and the advertiser absolutely loved that. So they had multiple grocery stores, and you could actually go check in at that store to get those bonus entries as well.
Creighton, do you do that in a lot of markets now? What is a bonus entry, and how does this create store traffic? God forbid a retail store, gets traffic today. What are you doing?
So I'd say every salesperson, when they're meeting with that advertiser, there's an objective that the advertiser is trying to meet.
Of course.
And a lot of times it is as simple as like, I just need foot traffic, right? And so what do you do in that moment to solve that problem? And so what we've done is you can go grab like any of their locations. And so these grocery store locations, and we, grab the GPS coordinates of each location. And then what happens is when somebody wants to get these bonus entries, because think about it, data capture I mean, you could put a form with 100 things on there, but there has to be an incentive, right? The whole like what's in it for me thing.
Right.
So if you put, hey, 10 bonus entries, if you check in at the grocery store, they can fill out the form, go to the grocery store, and at that point they check in, it verifies that they're within that radius of those GPS coordinates, and then it rewards them those bonus entries, which is really cool for like the reporting and analytics side of it to give to the client. But it's even cool for the station to own that data of like, hey, these are the people that go to this grocery store in this spot. What other businesses are around here that might want to, talk to this person? So bonus entries are really whatever the client needs. Video views, foot traffic, app downloads, social media follows. I mean, the list is pretty big of what you can incentivize as bonus entries.
Ryan, how hard was it to implement this? I mean, did you have to go through tons of training? Was it hard to get the sales force locally motivated? I mean, how difficult was this deployment or how easy was it? Give us an honest answer, Ryan.
Yeah, it was not hard to deploy. Brandon, who oversees our content team, I think I actually saw him on this call. Their team is great about helping to build these out for the stations. So, I've seen that as a deterrent. And if you're on here and you're like, hey, we would love to launch with audience, make sure that you've got somebody that can own that process and is comfortable with it. That is one of the reasons that we chose audience, though. We did feel like it's really user friendly. Paris already hit on the customer support. The customer support has always been awesome. Anytime you type in something in the chat, they're responding back to you within 10 minutes. But I liken the platform very much like a Canva in terms of the simplicity of building it out. They make it easy. And I do like the sequential process of entering your information as well. So kind of going back to those form fill drop-offs, when you first start the form, you can have very basic information. And then if you want to get more into some of the details of the form fills on there, you can give those bonus entries for, more sensitive data that people might be less likely to give out.
I just advanced you to the next play here.
Yeah.
This is the favorite play. I love this because this is a station and market promoting a local team. So you're talking about brand lift. I mean, let's face it, with a local TV station, you really want to own sports and weather. Correct me if I'm wrong. Those are two of the major ways you want audience love for your
Yeah.
brand. I mean,
Sports is how you tie in the local community,
totally.
especially when you think about Friday night sports. And I think about when I was in high school, like, you would after the game, you'd want to go there, you'd want to see the highlights, you'd want to see the stats that they put up there. And so it's a great way to engage both the kids and the parents as well to start to build that brand with a younger audience.
So this is like a vote for your favorite play. I cannot believe what was this a huge market? 101,000 participants in this.
Yeah, so this market, I say it's a mid-sized market. We looked it at, I think it's like about market 100. And so not a huge
Yeah,
market in terms of what you think there. It does speak to the station's following in terms of what they have, but the engagement that they get out there. And then also, Paris, I think hit on this earlier, but the social shares that you get out of that as well, to get people to go and vote for those. If you get a high school student that is nominated for one of these, they're going to share it out. And their mom and their grandma and everybody else is going to get crazy involved with that social sharing. And it really just helps to build that brand out there.
once again, the chat room is open. We're either doing an amazing job explaining things, or everybody's bored. If you're out there, ask any question.
I saw
Pose
one
it.
question. I saw one question come in for Ryan about the grocery giveaway. Just said with the grocery promotion, could people enter once per day or once total? If once per day, how many unique entries versus total entries were received? In other words, how many times did a unique user come back, increasing brand activity? So
Good
I
Yeah.
question.
I've got some stats right here, just really quick.
Please.
So it was 98,000 completed entries. People could come back and enter more than once. And so it was almost 12,000 total users that were part of the 97, 98,000. And it's ongoing. Like this thing's live right now. Um, and then yeah, over 6,500 new users came in for their first time. So
And
anyways,
I will tell you, this advertiser was not active with us. So the
Ah,
GM, our general manager at the station actually came up with this idea and used it to collaborate to get this new advertiser
of
on.
course.
So even better news.
We
I'll
have a
just point
question.
out
Go
just I
ahead.
have to really quick, like email and newsletters. There's a lot of marketers on here that know like open rates are hard to get, clicks are hard to get. Every person that entered this contest, even if you came back, the next day, you got an email and so, all 97,000 entries got emails. 60% of those were actually opened, right? And
What?
so that's just one more place. And Mike, emails, like that's one more place to put grocery, stores name, logo, offers, coupons in that email. What's crazy about it is that 30,000 clicks within the email. The reason being it's not a newsletter. This is a transactional email. It's a confirmation email of like, hey, Mike, you've entered to win, and we're going to announce the winner tonight at whatever time. So these they do float higher in the inbox. They have a higher open rate, but
Yeah,
60%,
that is
I mean,
ridiculously high.
that's not normal.
That is
Like
not
that's
normal.
awesome.
But because, again, it's fun. In a world, I could go on and on, because what this does with your brand is it makes your brand not just the local news brand or whatever you're trying to do with your media. It also makes you fun, and people need fun today, if I could be so bold. Let me go back to this one, though, if I might, real quick, Ryan. God
Sure.
forbid you made money with this. There was a sponsor, was there not? I mean,
Yes.
yeah, come
Yeah.
on, you got all
So
this engagement. You must have had some greedy salesperson tack a logo to this, right? So there was revenue here.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm not going to get into like exactly the pricing structure on this, but absolutely every one of these promotions we run is about generating revenue for the station and getting results for the advertiser. Um, typically, and we don't dictate this to the stations, but typically what our stations do is they build the media plans around this promotion, and so we're not so hard on saying, hey, you've got to charge a fixed dollar fee for this contest. I know some of your partners do, Creighton, but our approach is a little bit more just focused on how do we build a really robust media strategy around this so that we can get the engagement that our advertiser
Exactly.
wants, and that's where the revenue really comes for us at Gray.
So this
Yeah.
it's a win-win-win. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Okay, now
Yeah,
this I love this because remember I said earlier, at least I've managed a TV station back in the dark ages. I'm talking the '80s now, right? When we had Wheel Jep and all that. Well, I guess
yeah.
they're still out there.
Some of them
Anyway,
still, yeah. Wheels
Wheel
still
Jep.
going strong.
Uh,
Yeah,
I just but it was weather and sports. I mean, yeah, news you have so much competition for in a market.
yeah,
But when you own the weather and you own the sports, your brand has this like and God forbid the weatherman, you know how they are. The moment there's a hurricane coming, or I mean, they're on fire. It's like
yeah.
I, I could go on with the stories, and I have to tamp them down. Relax, relax. But anyway, this is amazing. Guess the day we hit 110 degrees. So this engages you, and I'm assuming the weatherman on TV was playing this up too, right? This was like got a lot of play, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you can see here, this is a top market, so a top 30 market. We got over 44,000 entries. You can see there, almost 5,000 of those people had never entered one of our promotions before. And I do think it's important to notate on this, you know, uh, the prize value does dictate sometimes how much of an engagement you get on it, and
Yeah.
definitely in terms of like the information that you ask for on there. So win $5,000. Who doesn't want to win $5,000? Very strong. We got engagement from the news team all the way down on the promotion side, and really drove it home for this advertiser.
Let me, that you just said the prize value increases engagement. Creighton, we had a planning call yesterday
Mhm.
and we discussed some of these turnkey campaigns. You can offer a small market, right? Where
Yeah.
people could enter to win like a house. Do I have this right? Or can you give?
Yeah, so we pay for somebody's mortgage or rent for an entire year. So we have a whole calendar of campaigns, promotions that anybody can, if you're a customer, you can jump on and you can use where we do the prize fulfillment, the rules, the graphics, the fulfillment of the prize. Like we go all in on it just so, and it's your choice. You don't have to piggyback on any of
But these
these,
are
but if
ready to
you want
go,
to,
right? So I,
they're
if
they're
if
ready
I'm
to
in a
go.
small
And
town with a small operation and I want to build my database quick, and you have these available instantly, right? I can
yeah.
say, get your mortgage paid for a year, and people they're entering in with other people in other markets, but you're gaining that critical data. Am I right?
Exactly. Yep. So it's just a reason for people to come to your site. It's kind of the set it and forget it kind of a thing. We do offer like all the sales materials. So if like locally you wanted to go sell like, the Super Bowl's coming up. So guess the score for the Super Bowl, or, March Madness is coming up. Maybe you need something around brackets, and so those are all plug and play ready to go. But then you got like Father's Day, Mother's Day, back to school, this home for the holidays concept. So, yeah, we have a full calendar that any of our customers can jump on. But I have to say too, really quick, to Ryan's point, on some of these case studies he's showing, what we do as well is we see these, happening in our system, and there's thousands that are live, today. We turn these into like turnkey templates as well. So if it's a, grocery store gift card giveaway, if it's a guess the temperature, we want to make these easy for your team, anyone's team to execute. So you've got the national promotions where we pay for it's thousands of dollars in prizes. And then you've got like the templates where, you can just go grab those and grab all the assets.
You actually told me, I hope I'm not speaking out here, that you hired a full-time person who's just a whiz at
Mhm.
finding these, right? Someone that just is so good at getting these national promotions for you, so any of your partners can participate, correct?
Yep. And yeah, especially the partners that are focused on like compliance and how do we do these, in
Let's be
Florida.
honest, half the contests people are doing are illegal or wrong. And some of
Well,
the
that's
data
where that's
capture
where
that,
we try to come in and
yeah,
really help. I mean, this has been our world for 14 years, and so keeping everybody compliant is as important as the software that powers it. And so that's a big part of our
I,
our job, and that's why we've hired the folks we've hired. Um, yeah.
I knew of a radio station that did a contest once that was almost lost their license by
Oh
not
yeah.
complying to lottery rules, chance, consideration, and prize. There's so many different nuances of how you have to legally do these things, right?
Oh yeah.
And rather than, try to figure it out, you guys have already, you've pretty much tested the waters. You know what you're doing. There's
For
one
sure.
more slide under Ryan. Um, no, this is your slide. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I guess we're a little ahead of schedule here, but let's talk about this. This is your, first of all, again, the chat room is open. Ask any questions you want right now. Pose a question to our two panelists, Paris and Ryan, and of course, Creighton, who represents audience. But talk about if someone says, okay, I'm gonna want to do this with you, Creighton. What
Yeah.
do? Do they have to give you like $1,000, $2,000 right up front? How easy is it to, especially some of our smaller publishers and smaller operations, how easy is it for them to instantly start capturing data, making money, and building audience and brand?
Yeah.
Give me the lowdown.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So we got a full support team over here. Our accounts get like a dedicated account manager. What's cool about our system is that everyone that comes over to audience has pretty much used something else. And so we can bring in all the old campaigns, all the old data so that you're not starting from scratch. And like with Gray and Ryan and his team, I mean, it was over 100 accounts that had to be built and spun up in a 2 week period. And so, getting everything set up and then kicking off trainings with sales teams and the marketing folks and, getting it integrated into your website. We are experts in that. And we've done so many of these that the onboarding usually costs money because it's implementation. But what we're doing right now, we know budgets are down and, the market, we want to be a partner that's looking long term, not short term. And so what we're doing is saying, hey, we'll waive setup fees. You can jump in on these free campaigns. So, we give away like $1,000 a day during the summer as this like cash contest. We do. You can see a couple little screenshots there on this slide, but we're just trying to take away the hurdles. And so setup fees, the goal too would be like, come in, jump on these campaigns that we help run and manage, localize them. I mean, you could give them a local name, a local look, and
And and
let's
a
help you
local
generate revenue
sponsor.
on those
Yeah.
to more than pay for audience. Like that's our goal is how quick, and that's one of our objectives over here is like how quick can we get our partners to be generating revenue to where we're not looked at as an expense. We want to be that partner that can help you offer solutions that you don't offer today, or just offer it better.
Okay, I've trained over 10,000 salespeople in my career, and I just recently did a training in a market, and I'm sure you've never heard this from a local sales force, Creighton, but I have too many things to sell. Ryan, does that Ring a
Yeah, oh
bell?
yeah.
I have too. Your product's too hard to explain to my customer. Ryan, you ever heard that one? I mean, like Paris, you're smiling. You know where I'm going with this, right? I mean, the neat thing
Yeah.
about these, and Paris, I want you to join us. You've been quiet for the last 25 minutes. Thank you. Although you owned the show at the beginning. The truth is, these are pretty darn easy to explain to an advertiser, aren't they? They get it in the first 30 to 45 seconds, right?
They do. I think that for the Baltimore Times, supporting local businesses align with our values. So one of the things and how we were able to, it attracts a lot of sponsor support, right? In addition to, digital sales, and not to mention the whole party that's not even, and the booklet. So this has so many products that come out of it. And so um, actually, yeah. So yes,
It's easy to present. It's not like, let
it
me
is. It
explain what
really is.
programmatic
It's
is,
like,
targeted email. That's when, God forbid,
mhm.
you have to try to sell. I mean, I'm not, Brian, I'm sure you're the best sales trainer in the world. But when you're trying to explain over the top, right, it takes a little time, right?
Yeah.
OGT.
We just did 12 hours in online training for our sales team to get digital certification. So
Oh,
we spend a lot of time on training for sure.
I mean, so Creighton, this is what I wanted to ask you. I'm assuming you have these turnkey sales collaterals ready to go. I mean,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah,
got to
we do.
go ahead.
Yeah, and we do webinars and we have all the collateral and the templates and the one sheets and all of that. And we do it too, like very customized to each client we have where, we'll do some of these in person, we'll do them virtually. Like the idea is, yes, there's like the overall sales support and training, but we also lean in even further for specific companies. But really, Mike, like the goal is that if the advertiser is like, I need leads, I need foot traffic, I need people to watch my video. I need people to, you know, come to my location. Like whatever the objective is that they're trying to solve, like we have campaigns to hit those. So that would be the biggest thing that we try to stress on all the webinars is like, look, yes, you need to be building your own audience as a broadcaster, as a publisher, but the advertisers need leads or foot traffic or whatever that objective is. How do you pull that off? And
Totally.
people need incentives. People need campaigns that make it easy. So that's where we come in. But yeah, training up sales teams, it's really making them aware of what's available to them and then reminding them on a very constant basis. And then showing what's working, what's not. Like this one, like Ryan's, case studies there were amazing. Paris and some of those numbers, crazy, right? Like that's the stuff too that like sends it home is sure we have all these capabilities, but look at how your colleagues are monetizing it. And here's this great idea that you could, make your own. And, maybe it's a radio station that's doing it, but why couldn't a publisher do it or a
Oh,
television station?
anyone. I mean,
Yeah.
a niche publication. I believe there's, as long as you have an audience and a brand, this is
Yeah. And the
amazing.
community.
Yeah,
Yep.
just it's a win all the way around. All right, Paris, we're getting to the end of our journey here. Again, to our audience, please ask questions either in the Q&A or in the webinar chat. Paris, what advice? This is the final phase of our dialogue. Now, what advice would you give to any publisher who is sitting on that proverbial fence and it's saying, I don't know, I got too many things on my plate. God, just making the month is too hard. I'm having enough trouble just staying sane. What advice do you give them about experimenting with these types of tools? Go ahead.
I, I, I think that, like Ryan said in Creighton, there are a lot of templates that already exist that you can use to test, right? They make it so easy. And with their customer support, to be honest, they even gave us a timeline on when we should actually run the campaign and what we should do and how long nomination periods last. And so they really made it easy for us to step out for the first time. There was such an ease in the platform. I mean, even I created the categories. I have to admit, I didn't realize how easy it was to be able to do everything. And they really helped with the lift. There are some lessons learned, right? Because you need that whole community engagement. I think that what was exciting about this is that were so many benefits, we weren't really ready for some of it, so we had to get ready. But they were super, super helpful with every problem we had. And I mean, it was small. They would jump on the call. So, like I said, they didn't pay me for this, but the support was absolutely amazing. But you didn't realize, Cody, we were calling him on the weekend. It was 7:30 at night. We were having problems. So they really do make it easy for you with the whole suite of services, as well as I would say, coupled with the customer support. If you are a small niche publication like the Baltimore Times, you already know how many people we have. I would really reach out and try it. And I could say, yeah, I was doing the ROI. I was like, oh my gosh, the ROI is like 94%. Because really, when we're small, so it was really hard when you looked at digital advertising for us to reach that mark.
I hear you.
But through this campaign, we were able to leap into such an increased digital revenue for the Baltimore Times. And so a really great way to make money in the digital space, I would say.
Ryan, same question. What advice do you give to someone sitting on the fence who has not, or they're making up their own tools using JotForm and populating a spreadsheet? You know what I mean? Trying to say, I can do this on my own. I'm smart enough. I get
Yeah,
it. I can do
I
a
mean,
contest. Go ahead.
I think the offer that audience has put together is kind of a no-brainer on this, like in terms of an opportunity to try it out. Try it out. I think, like Basketball Mayhem's one you can see on the screen there that's coming up here in a few months, that almost every publication or news outlet is going to do something with basketball. So, I mean, there's some great opportunities to get in there and try it out.
All right, bring it home, Creighton.
No, I would say that's it. Exactly what Ryan said. Like, we're not going to be the ones that put on this heavy sales pitch of, it's like, try it, A/B test it. Like, just get to know us. And I think this offer here hopefully does make it a no-brainer. If someone's looking at this and like, but what's the price, per month and later on, it's all based on your size of company, like the market you're in, what industry you're in. And so we really work with you to hone in some very custom pricing. But really, we are that partner. I will say in 14 years, it's like 1% of our customers have churned. And so
Huh, I wish
I
I could
bring
say
that up
that.
not, it really is just to really show it, we're not looking at this first year. Yes, we want you to be very successful, but we're looking at like, how can we be that partner for, years into the future? And I mean, here in about 4 months, like we have some really cool announcements on some upgrades to the platform. Um, we're always building and we're always innovating. And so that's the other thing, is like, we don't want to leave you with the same software that you've had for, years and years. So some exciting stuff coming out on the tech side of things that I think take this even further. So yeah, that's, come get to know us. Like, reach out, let's do a demo, try this offer. Um,
There's
yeah,
a
we'll go
link
from there.
now in the chat room if anyone wants to learn more. Plus, if I may be so bold, you have a very easy web address, audience.io, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's very simple. That's where people can get more information. I want to thank our guests today. You go, girl. I got to tell you, Paris, you're one of my favorite publishers. Moreover, we both like operate very nimble operations. So you keep winning those awards and keep up the good fight. I love the work that the Baltimore Times is doing, and I hope we continue to report on your success. Thank you, Paris, for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you for having me.
Ryan, a new friend. I'll be bumping into you, I'm sure, this year at a few conferences. You sound like
Yeah,
you've got a lot on your plate, so setting aside this time was very special, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate the time. Thanks so much, Mike.
And Creighton, it was an honor and pleasure to have you and your team be part of the EMP world. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike, for the opportunity.